Cox. I could light a candle there.
I don't think we should light a candle here.
Why?
Because
It's Jesus. What's Jesus gonna do? Not protect us?
this, I feel like that's where like the master one was at. But I'm scared to go in there. Because like the closer I get, the colder it is. And that's like,
There's no way to get in there. It's not like you could just open the door.
yeah, you can.
There's a wall there. Man.
No, the door is open. Oh, there's a wall there.
It's
I
not
thought
even,
it was a room in there.
It's not even.
I'm getting out. Fuck you. I say here. You don't have to go through that door.
It's so dark, my camera's having problems.
Where do we go?
Where do we go? I watched the video. They just walked this trail.
What's back here?
Staircase. That's a Jesus candle.
Are we go up there?
I'm going to.
Oh, this is so cool. Come.
Come. Okay. If you say so.
It's a good place to urinate. No, that's messed up.
On a staircase?
What was this though?
Storage building, maybe? Man, they did not build these things good, though.
Well, how long have it been out of business? That's all for a while.
The 80s. When was Frosty the Snowman popular still?
I don't know. You want to do the candle here?
So wacky.
I like that fence. It's a real nice fence. I want to look at this building over here. I pissed myself so much.
You what?
I peed my pants. I really did. It's really bad. I don't want to hold the Jesus candle. That's bad.
That's bad.
What did this used to be? I want to know all the details. These look like somebody's house. Like there's clothes and
It's a mill. Look. It was a river mill. This was.
So like people lived here?
Yeah.
Is there upstairs?
No. The water would come through, I guess, here at some point. That's how old this thing is.
I wanted to walk upstairs. It doesn't look like it'd be really stable.
Yeah, that's why I said, no, there's no upstairs.
Yeah, I was like, I know he lied to me.
Society has a weird way of looking at famous people that have done these great things. We instantly don't look at any of the bad things, we look at only the good things, and that goes for historical figures like George Washington, we got the philosopher Socrates, we got Thomas Jefferson, we got Thomas Edison, we got all these guys that are famous, but we don't look at any of the bad things, because they did these great things, and that's what we have to focus on. So we look at them through a different lens than what they truly were. We're not looking at Thomas Edison, the guy on the street. We're looking at Thomas Edison, the guy who paid a guy to make the light bulb. We're not looking at Socrates, this annoying guy on the street asking you 100 questions. We're looking at Socrates, this amazing wise philosopher that asked all of the right questions all the time. We're not looking at them as a person, we're looking at what they've done historically to help us now. And I'm pretty sure that most historical figures, if you actually met them, you wouldn't like. And if we just take Kurt Cobain, not that I don't like him, love my homie Kurt Cobain, but whenever he was famous and he was alive, he was getting bigger and bigger. You know, he was playing shows, he was making music, everything was good. But whenever he died, he got even bigger and bigger, and now he's looked at as something that he's not. Whenever you look at like quotes of Kurt Cobain's legacy, you see he forced the music to evolve. You can still see his spirit live on in culture and fashion. Kurt Cobain, the way we see him has changed. He's not the same man as he was when he was alive. Saying you can still see him in culture and fashion just means that we're looking at him in a distorted lens. We're not looking at Kurt Cobain as the guy on the side of the street, even if he was a cool guy. We're looking at this fashion culture icon that changed the music, but is he that? Is Kurt Cobain all of that, or is that just what other people made him look like in these clothes and in these songs and in all these cultural things? Did people make him that, or did he make himself that? And that's somewhat of the reason why I like Dead People. Whenever somebody's dead, it's a toss-up. Are they going to get cooler? Are they going to get less liked? Are people going to hate them? Are people going to love them? It's a toss-up, and we don't know what's going to happen until somebody in culture decides what we're going to think of them. If somebody decided to let everybody know that Thomas Edison didn't invent most of his inventions and that he paid people, would we actually like him? If people knew all these things about these famous or historical figures, would we actually like them, or would we have a changed opinion and respect what they've done but also think they're kind of weird? If you look at Steve Jobs and the documentary that was made about him, you can see how society has changed and that they think more about the bad things that people do than the good. And I don't know when this really changed, but if you look at Steve Jobs and how he made his products in China and had these awful labor restrictions and didn't pay his workers at all, but he made the iPhone. iPhone is cool. Steve Jobs, pretty cool guy. Pretty cool guy. Mark Zuckerberg made Facebook. Facebook was cool. Mark Zuckerberg was cool. Kinda. And then Mark Zuckerberg, we all learned that he is stealing our private information, and now we don't like him. But do we not like Steve Jobs now because of the way that he used Chinese labor? It's weird. We have this weird distorted lens that we don't take everybody to the same high standards. We have Mark Zuckerberg at this high standard of living because he's alive. We have to focus on everything that he's doing at all the time, but Steve Jobs is dead and he made iPhone. That's pretty cool. But Mark Zuckerberg, he made Facebook. He owns Instagram. That's pretty lame because, he's stealing our private information. It's a weird, distorted lens that we're looking at depending on what society is telling us to look at. I think if we looked at all of Steve Jobs' bad actions and all of Mark Zuckerberg's bad actions, they would kind of be the same. Steve Jobs screwed some guys over. Mark Zuckerberg screwed guys over. And we still, for some reason, hold Steve Jobs to a higher level of liking than Mark Zuckerberg culturally, and I just don't get it. It's a weird cultural shift at some point when we started focusing on all these bad things and telling them that they are bad. When you look at Einstein and the way that he is depicted in culture and in movies, that's not the same Einstein that was in there making the atomic bomb and doing all of these great scientific discoveries, inventing the theory of gravity. That guy you see in movies isn't the right guy. When you see Gandhi and his depiction, is that actually Gandhi? You don't know who Gandhi was, but you see who he is and you think Gandhi is a peaceful guy. But did you know that he also slept naked with a bunch of underage women that were like 13? Would that change your opinion of them? You see Martin Luther King and you think he's this great all-around guy, but then you figure out he cheated on his wife. You can look at all of these historical figures like Walt Disney, who hated Jewish people, Charlie Chaplin, who dated an 18-year-old when he was about 60. You look at George Washington owning slaves and all these just weird things. Gandhi, peaceful dude, peaceful guy, he's nice. We just don't get all the information. So we're always looking at things through a distorted lens of history, and that's kind of why I like Dead People, because we don't really know. We just know what we're told, and everything's kind of like this weird mythological story because it's all played up. We don't really know who Walt Disney was. We don't really know who anybody was because we didn't know them. We just saw them from afar and made our own depictions and made our own news stories. And even if they wrote their autobiographies, that they're playing themselves up. We don't really know anybody. And that's kind of cool. We never know who somebody is, but whenever they're dead, we can solidify all these opinions by the things that we know when we don't really know them. And I just think that's kind of cool. And that's something about Dead People that's kind of interesting. Everything's a toss-up. You never know how people are going to look at you in the future if you're famous. I don't think Kurt Cobain knew he was going to be used as this pop culture icon, but he is. and it's good, but I don't think he knew that that was going to happen. And that's just interesting to me, that you can die and everybody's opinions of you can either go for the worse or for the better. It's really interesting to me that all these dead people that we see and that we think we know, we don't really know. We're just told what we're told to know about them. It makes everything in your life more special when you realize that these dead people in the future that you might know now, they're not going to be known as how you know them. So it makes living in the moment and your lifetime more special to you because you actually know all these things. And history is going to write them differently, but you know for sure what it's going to be, and that's kind of neat. And that's why I like dead people, because if you were there to witness them before they died, you know more than anybody else, and that's kind of special.
This rock just looks so sturdy. It's so loud. It's a Satan Death Bob Falls. It's written on that plaque right there.
What plaque? Oh,
Is this where the water exits?
I just want to pull it.
That's trespassing. But I wouldn't go in there. You okay?
I remembered the Sabbath to keep it holy, and honor thy father and mother, and thou shalt not kill. The Ten Commandments.
Yeah. Cox.